Hi, welcome to my channel. Welcome to this video. Today we are going to do something a little bit different. This is more of a conversational video where I just go over some of the tips learned throughout my journey that helps my practice, and I feel like more people should probably know about, or people should really discuss, because I feel like a lot of people may not know this. It could be that I'm not reaching the certain, audience or like creators that know about this, but I feel like every time I see a video like this, I come across people who believe that like tarot cannot do certain things. It can't predict the future. You can't know this and that about a person or a situation or anything like that. So I don't know, I just wanted to do this video. I got this idea from just me basically looking at my journal where I just write down like what works for me, what doesn't work for me, or like tips and tricks that I've just learned, either through trial and error, what people have told me, or what has come to my mind that I think is like a great idea, what works. So yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go over some of the stuff that helps me strengthen my ability to read tarot, how my readings are, how to give more accurate readings, and stuff like that. So hopefully you stick along. And if you have any suggestions as to what I can add, like what works for you in your practice that I didn't mention, or anything like that, I want this to be kind of like a good conversation where we all could just talk. So feel free to comment. And yeah. So first off, I just want to quickly say that, not related to this video, I just want to say that I am really enjoying the Mindscapes Tarot deck. I know a lot of people have done walkthroughs of this, so I won't spend too much time on this deck, but I have really enjoyed working with it. I think it's a really special deck to have in your collection if you are wanting something like this. I mean, and it is just so beautiful. I think, personally, I think a lot of people were kind of harsh on this deck when it first came out about the minors not being as detailed as the major arcana. I personally don't mind, because it shows a progression of what is happening, and to me, it makes sense that the minor arcana isn't as detailed as the major arcana. So I'm not really worried about that. I think the only complaint, if I had to complain about something, is like the cardstock of it. I am not familiar with Hay House cardstock as far as their tarot goes. I think I have like 1 or 2 Hay House decks. But I'm not a big fan of this, just because of the way that I shuffle. It kind of really messes with that. But either way, I just wanted to say that I've been really enjoying working with this deck. I think it is a very special deck here. And yeah, just wanted to say that. Okay. Now for this video, we're just going to go over, again, what I said in the beginning. I'm going to be using my Centennial version of the RWS. Just because people know the RWS, so it's basic. I don't want to use like another deck that people may not be familiar with. So I have a list of things that I am wanting to kind of go over on my computer. So I am just looking and So I'm just looking at that. And first off, we're going to talk about astrological signs. I know astrology is kind of scary to some people. I personally love astrology, and I would love to do an astrology video of going over the basics and like eventually like reading somebody's chart, like doing a video about it. I really want to do that sometime in the future. Anyways, I know astrology can be like, it's too much for some people. It's too much. It's even too much for me sometimes. Like, I feel like I know quite a bit of astrology, but I don't know as much as other people may know. And I am okay with never getting that far as some people, like the certain degrees and like all the other stuff. I'm okay with staying where I am right now because it works for me. But in tarot, astrology is a really important thing to know because it can help you identify certain, behaviors, characteristics of a person or of a situation that can really help you. I'm going to first off give out a couple recommendations on how to get into astrology that I feel like are beginner friendly and how to really approach it. I have 2 books that I think may help people. Let me get this deck out of the way. I think if you know Greek mythology, you know the stories of the planets and like everything, it can really help you in your practice because astrology and tarot are very much intertwined. And so is also say Christian symbology is also really entwined into tarot, believe it or not. And we can definitely go over that. And yeah, we'll go over that. I didn't add that to my list, but I'll briefly go over where you can see archangels in the cards. Anyways, back to Greek mythology. I feel like if you know the stories, the myths about that, it can really help you in your readings because like the gods' personality really shines through the cards. I know that Mythos by Stephen Fry was a really big thing in the community. I feel like a year or 2 ago. So if you don't know about that, I would definitely check it out. It's a really good way for you to kind of get into the stories and get into that kind of world from a very conversational point. It's not like a textbook kind of thing. I really like it. And this is my version of the book. Oh gosh. See, it's really big. This is the illustrated version of Mythos by Stephen Fry, with illustrations by Jesus Sotes. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Now, there is a regular book that you can get. I was just being extra. I have a Libra rising, so I am going to get something fancy if I can. But this book is written so a beginner can, you guys cannot see that. It's written so a beginner can really get into it. So sorry. I know this book is like gigantic, but I personally love it. As you can see, the illustrations. So I would really, really recommend this book, whether you get the illustrated version or not. I think Stephen Fry is a wonderful author and can really draw an audience in. And for something a little bit different, I would recommend this book as well. The Parker's Astrology book. This is also kind of big. This is actually an old version of the book. I found this at a thrift store for I still have the tag on. For $2.24. I think this could probably go for 60. I think, but there is a new version out. There's a new version out that you know, should probably get, because this version that I have doesn't mention certain things like retrograding planets or anything like that. So I would really recommend getting this book. I'm going to show it to you guys. I personally kind of hate the cover of books, so I usually just take them off. Anyways, I'm going to show you guys if I can. So for example, just flipping through like a random page, I'm going to show you like a different couple examples that are in this book, so then you kind of see what's going on here. This one, if I can show you, like this page, it goes through, it's Mars through the houses, and it shows you what it is throughout the houses and what that means. Let's see. This kind of shows you right here, like suggested careers in the sun sign of Taurus, and it goes through all the signs. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. This is like gigantic. On this page, you have like the transits and what it means and whatnot. So, I mean, thing is, this book is really helpful for those who are trying to get into astrology. I feel like it is. And it is really, it's not like a very scary textbook. Honestly, you can really just pick out a page, go to a random page, and then start reading. And I feel like anybody will be fine doing that. It doesn't use like really big words in it all that much. What I'm really trying to say is that it is really accessible, and I really recommend this for anybody who's trying to get into astrology. And again, I feel like astrology really helps you in your readings when reading with tarot. This is it's Parker's Astrology by Julia and Derek Parker. I would recommend getting the newer version of this if it is available, because I feel like the newer version may talk about retrograding planets and aspects, and like, I think I just think it has more information. Okay, or at least I hope it does. I'm not too sure. I don't have the book. I do plan on getting it sometime. But just in case, yes, get that one. Get the new one. Okay, anyways. So those are my two recommendations right there. When it comes to reading astrology. But to go back to tarot, you can determine or find out a person's sign, their characteristics about a person or a situation, whatever, if you look at the cards. So people already know the major arcana, right? For the signs, this is Aquarius, this is Mercury. You know, people already know the sign and the planet that is already associated with the major arcana: Aries, Gemini, Cancer. This is actually, good thing that I landed on this card. This is the card of Cancer, right? But right here, this figure right here is Apollo. So then you also have that energy in there as well. So you have Leo energy, right? You know, you have Jupiter, Scorpio, like all this type of energy here. So we know the world card is this card of Saturn, right? But we also have fixed energy. We have the fixed signs here. So, for example, we have Leo, right? Because of the lion here. Oh. We have Leo. We have Taurus. We have Scorpio. And then we have Aquarius. So that's also the kind of energy that you need to look for. And it's really, really, this is a really powerful card because of those fixed signs also present along with Saturn. So then we get into the major arcana. And listen, I've come across a lot of videos, a lot of readings where people will say something like, this person could be let's just get to the cards. This person could be a fire sign, Aries, Sagittarius, Leo. And the card is like the Queen of Wands. Okay, the court cards are also assigned a zodiac sign. Pages, not so much because they're young energy. So they're not really, again, pages are not really established, right? They're not really developed as much as the other three. So this is kind of like a little bit generic. But when you get into like the Knight of Wands, this is Sagittarius energy. The Knights are going to be the mutable signs. So Sagittarius. The Queens are going to be the cardinal signs. So Queen of Wands, this is going to be Aries, right? So the Kings are going to be the fixed signs, which is going to be Leo, because they represent stability, right? And it goes through that, goes like that for the rest of the deck, for all the court cards. So general energy, personally I have found that the Knight of Cups and the Page of Cups are usually Pisces anyway. Anyways, so Knight of Cups, Pisces, Queen of Cups, Cancer, King of Cups, Scorpio. And then the same thing throughout the swords. General energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. General, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. So I feel like people should know that. People should know that. Okay, so now that we've gone through the signs, let's look at the direction of people, because I feel like that is also really, really important. Okay, so let's talk about direction. Whenever you're doing a spread, you should really look to see where people are facing, whether they're sitting down, or standing up, or doing whatever. And I feel like readers may not know that, or at least I'm just going to assume for the purpose of this video. So I just want to go through again. So we know that this is Aquarius energy, right? And what is he doing? He's looking straight ahead at us. So this is basically saying that you should, if you're just pulling this card, right, you should live in the moment. That's kind of like your advice here. Be present, right? For a prediction, this could be people are going to be looking at you. People are going to, putting the spotlight on you or anything like that. Notice that the king is looking straight ahead, but guess what? He is also sitting down. So there's also a sense of someone needing to be calm. The King of Swords is very much calm. He's not really, really active. I mean, he is prepared, right, for anything that comes his way. And in a predictive sense, I guess, you will reign, right? You will, sit on your throne. You will be victorious if it's in a positive spread, right? If it's in a negative spread, then, you will have to back down a little bit. You may need to be put in your place. And sitting down is really a sense of like stability as well. Um, and to, let's see, let's get like another card. Something that's like the opposite. So I'm thinking the King of Wands here. It's a little bit opposite. So yes, he is sitting down, right? But as you can see, if we look at it, he is kind of itching to get up. Okay, so your advice here may not to be, calm as like the King of Swords. You may need to start planning and start standing up. And when you stand up, right, that means to take a stand, to have control, to be, to be ready for whatever it is that is going to come your way. And we have to think about like the elements, right? Because the King of Wands is the fire. So, fire is very impulsive. It is very, it's like an outburst, right? In a negative or a positive sense. It doesn't, it depends on the spread that you're doing and what the cards are. So, I mean, it's a little bit different, but it kind of reads the same. And if you can see, he's facing the left. So there's obviously something in the past, right? Because the left is the past, that is bothering him, that he needs to go handle, that he needs to go fix, right? So that's another way that you can kind of like look at it. Okay, so like the Knight of Cups, right? What is he doing? He is, sitting down. He's sitting down, right? So he's calm, right? And as you can see, he seems calm, right? Because you can read his face, and you can see that he is offering something, right? And guess what? He is also facing to the right. And the right means going to the future, moving forward with life, improvement, right? Something new is coming, something wonderful and bright is coming. And this is the person that is offering their emotions, whether it's like a romantic, friendship, or anything like that. It's a positive card. And it's a moving forward card too, because it's and it's an active card because they're moving. And expecting and speaking of active cards like this, like the King of Wands, is kind of an active card because he's getting ready to stand up. Cards like the King of Swords is not an active card because he's sitting down, right? The card like the Fool is an active card, right? Because he's getting ready to jump. So that's how you can kind of think about movement and what's going to happen next for you to use in like in your spread. And then let's see. I like the Four of Pentacles, right? This is a very stagnant card because he's sitting down and he's like holding on to something. The Eight of Pentacles, right? This is a very active card because he's actively doing something. So just little stuff like that you can like look forward to. I don't really have a particular order. I'm just kind of like going through cards. This right here is an active card because we can see the destruction happening before our eyes. It's right here and it's like in mid motion, right? Right here in the Two of Wands, this is a stagnant card because he's waiting, right? Because he's waiting. This is an active card, and this is actually a pretty positive card anyway. But this is an active card, even though, the person in the Ten of Wands has all these wands, all these burdens, but he's actively walking to this house. So there is improvement. There is something positive here happening. So the direction of where people are, how they are placed, whether they're sitting up, standing down, looking to the left or looking to the right, looking straight ahead, is really important to note when doing a spread, when reading your cards, because you can predict, you can know what's going to happen next, and yeah. So the next thing when it comes to reading tarot is to know about the numerology, because again, tarot is essentially a story. I mean, you start off with the Fool and you end with the World, but the Fool goes through all these, all the life changes, and it also happens in the minor arcana as well. It's a progression. So let's go with, have we done anything with the swords? Okay. We'll start with the sword suit. I know this is kind of like a mess here, but that's how I just roll. Next up, we will go over numerology, because it is really important to know when you're reading tarot. And I feel like a lot of people already know about the numerology and what it means. But just to go over it for a second, we will just start with that. So, as you already probably know, aces are new. They're new energy, they're fresh, they're positive, and it's a new beginning. This is basically like the universe, or the hand of God, really saying, here it is, here's your new beginning, take it, right? Take it, doesn't matter which suit, and do something with it. So this is like a new passion, a new career, something new in love, something new with your spirituality, or anything like that. So then, when it comes like the twos, this is about duality, right? Two. This can be something that is dealing with your mind and your body, such as like the Two of Swords, right? Or it could be like a partnership, right? As shown in the Two of Cups. And speaking of the Two of Cups, this is Leo right here. So that's also a sign. This is like with Leo here and the characteristics. This is all about courage and bravery. Because it takes a lot of courage to, love someone, love something, and then come to terms with it, to be on equal balance. And this is also about balance, right? So then to go into like the threes, this is all about creation, and communication, right? So the three is about, well, as we can see in the Three of Pentacles, this is about something being created between three people. Something is being born from communicating and creating and collaboration, right? Four is all about stability. Four is always about stability. As you can see in this card, this is like one of the main cards that you can get for stability. And then for fives, we can look at the, Five of Pentacles. This is about change. Fives are about change. It could be good or it could be bad, but it is something significant. And as you can see, as the number, progresses, right, things are going to get a little bit more intense. So right here, we can see something like a major shift happening. Because like from the four, right, from the four, you go to the five. It seems like you have everything right here to your hand, to your touch. And then here you are at this five, kind of struggling, right? Looking for help, needing help. And then, you go to the six. And as I've said, tarot is a progression, right? It tells a story. Okay, but to go to the six now, to go to like 6, right? You know, in the 6 of Swords, this is about harmony. Usually, numbers that are even are going to be a little bit more positive than the odd numbers. So 6s are about harmony, and I feel like if you don't know already, you probably can't see that with this card, but this is about somebody moving away from something that is like mentally, spiritually, physically draining, moving from rough waters into something calmer, something more harmonious, right? So this is like the number 4, but a little bit more sweeter, okay? And then even to see it in the 6 of Cups, right? Something really sweet, right? Then we go into like the 7s. So 7 of Cups. This is usually about you needing to take action. Something is unbalanced and it needs to be set right. So right here, this person is trying to make a decision, right? Which route should they go? Let's look at the 7 of Wands here. Okay, again, action is required. Something needs to happen. And looks like this person has taken action by getting up here, right? And trying to ward off these other wands, right? But there's something that needs to take place. There's something that needs to be fixed. So if we go to the 8, to the suit, to like the number 8, right? This is all about longevity, abundance, and in this card, hard work, right? This is a very positive card. This is you working towards something. This is you building up something, making your foundations towards something great. And other cards, this is something different, right? Because in the 8 of Swords, this is something that's a little bit on a negative side, on a little bit of a negative side, right? But this card is telling you that longevity is here if you stay like this. So if you stay in this if you stay in this tormented state, you'll stay here for a very, very long time because you're blind. And so that's how you can read that in a negative sense. And let's see. And the 8 of Cups, right? This is somebody leaving something behind. This isn't really necessarily a negative card. This is more of I have always read this as a positive card. This is you leaving behind something that you no longer need. This is you taking action to go find something that is better than whatever this is right here. Okay, this is you finding out you are worth more than whatever this situation is and leaving. This doesn't have to be a negative card, right? So depending on the suits, of course, it is a little bit different, but it still reads the same of the word longevity. So then go to the 9s. This is about you almost finishing the race. You're almost there, right? As you can see in the 9 of Wands, this person right here is all bandaged up. And as you can see, they are, kind of looking paranoid, kind of just not probably doing well mentally. But this is them being secured, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. This is somebody who is taking extra precautions because they already know what it's like, right? They already know the bad stuff. So this is them taking the precautions right here to make sure that everything is right. Okay, because they know that their hard work is going to pay off. They know that their hard work is going to pay off. if they keep being aware and doing what they can to do, or and doing what they can. Let's see, and like in the Nine of Pentacles, is success right here. Because the harvest that is presented, as you can see, this person is, everywhere with the garden, with the lush, with all their pentacles fully, with all, they're in this lush garden, they're in this long, dress. It's very elegant, right? And you can see like they're one with themselves, they're one with nature, and everything around them seems very peaceful. This card is very, very yellow, which means really good things, and I'll go over the colors too. It's a really positive card. Okay, so then to go into the tens, this is all about victory, which I know is kind of weird. I know it's kind of weird concerning that the Ten of Swords is portrayed as this, right? But the thing is, whatever was bothering you and and the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords, it's gone. It's dead, right? It can't hurt you anymore because tens are also about endings, completion, and closure. This is a very harsh closure. This is something perhaps traumatic, something of that nature, but it is an end. So that's a good thing, right? And you also have the yellow right here that kind of promises you a better future, right? Now that you've gone through this. The blue is saying something. The blue here is about serenity and calmness that you're going to experience now that this is over. The Ten of Pentacles is about success, the ultimate abundance that a person can have, right? When it comes to in the minor arcana, it is a happy ending. So is the Ten of Cups, right? This is like your fairy tale ending here. This is a happy ending. So the tens are all about endings, whether it's a good one or, well, honestly, all of them are good, right? But the tens are also about beginnings because, again, if we go into numerology, 1 plus 0 is 1. So, and we know aces are about new beginnings. So once something ends, something starts. So that's how you can kind of look towards numerology. And the same thing follows into the major arcana, right? The Fool card is 0. So this is a clean slate. This isn't even 1. It's 0. So there's nothing bad about this card. This is I like to say that this is my get out of jail card that you can use because it's a clean slate. It hasn't taken form yet. 3 is about abundance. This is about creation, right? This is the Empress. This is about communication and beauty, right? 7, right? What did we say about 7? We said that action is required, and here we are. We have a warrior here, ready to go into battle, or they're just coming from battle, depending on how you want to look at it. This is, for me, usually this is about the after fact. So this is also a card of victory for me when it comes to this particular card, the Chariot, even though it's 7. Next up, what we will talk about is colors, right? Because color is a really big thing here. It's really important when you're reading tarot. And it is essentially important when you're reading like a, a not a pip deck, okay? Because when you're reading a pip deck, which I can also go over, it's a little bit different because with pip decks you don't care for the colors because pip decks usually don't have a lot of colors, so it's not really relevant. So when you're reading with a deck like this or a non-pip deck, you're going to want to look at the colors here. So let's start off with, I guess, this one, this card. So as you can see, there's a lot of yellow here. And yellow, let me get another card. We're gonna do this one, but I'm gonna group them up together because they essentially mean the same thing. So I'm gonna get a card with a lot of yellow. I'm going to get a card with like a lot of red. And let's get a card with a lot of orange as well. So I'm going to group these up together. As you can see, the cards will have multiple colors, obviously. But as we can see, the main color here is yellow, right? The main color here is red. The main color here is actually kind of blue. It's actually kind of blue, but I'm looking at the orange right here because of the wheel. So yellow, red, and orange, they mean happiness, right? They mean power. They mean passion. And it means love. So that's all you really need to know when it comes to the colors of those three. You know, as you said, power. The Emperor is all about power and being in control. This is about love. This is like a really good self-love card right here, right? And then orange, this is about, then the orange right here means, to me, happiness. Because when you pull this card, this means that things are turning into your favor. The wheel is changing. There is happiness here. And it really goes into the fact that this card is, you know, Jupiter, which is the, you know, planet of abundance, and a planet of luck, right? So the happiness is like 10 times right here. And this card is like 10, right? So this is the ace. This is 1. Which is all about new beginnings. And then you also have the new beginnings here being promised to you because, again, the fixed signs, as we have seen in the world card, is also up here as well. So then if we were to go into like, you can see these cards are primarily black, but there are some hint of different colors here that you can definitely use. But the color black here is about regret, obstacles, and loneliness, right? And purging. So as we can see, this is, you know, this is a very much of an obstacle card. This could be a regret card of, you know, leaning into your vices and whatnot. This is about purging. This is the tower hitting you and purging something out of your life. And this is kind of like the same thing with purging regret, obstacles, and loneliness. But this is like the overarching theme of these cards. But then you will start to combine the numbers, right? And the other colors that you see. So in the Tower card, you see a hint of yellow here and red. Okay, so something bad is happening to me, but guess what? This is probably happening for a reason. So is it really all that negative? Probably not. That's how you can see like the little bit of happiness that is happening here. And then you also have like a hint of blue, right? And blue is all about your intuition, spirituality, basically like your mind, logic, a little bit of innocence, really. that you can also tie in to these cards. And I know that cards like this, like in the wand suit, is all about blue, because you're following your heart by doing something that you're passionate about, and that's kind of that's you leaning into like your spirituality. The suits are, sorry, the swords are basically the same thing, but it's a little bit more, because the swords obviously, rules your mind. So it really goes into like your logic, your intuition, your spirituality, and things like that. As you can see with these cards. And these go not only just for blue, but it's also for white and green. That also means like the same thing, as you can see here. So you have the white, right? The white background, the blue, and then the green. That basically means like the same thing. So next we're going to talk about the archangels that you will see in tarot. And this is why knowing a little bit about Christian symbology is kind of important when reading tarot, because it kind of, as I said, it intertwines. So I won't really get into like the story and why they're here, but I'm going to just tell you that they are, and then, you can just do your own little research as to why. So starting off with the lovers, and it's only like 4 cards, right? Starting off with the lovers, we have Archangel Raphael here. And this is basically, I know I just said I wasn't going to tell the story, but here I am. Basically, you have Raphael blessing the union between Adam and Eve, right? This is very divine love. This is planned. And this is something that really symbolizes soulmates, right? This isn't always about a path. Sometimes this is genuinely about divine love. Judgment, we have Archangel Michael here, awakening people. And then in Temperance, Archangel Gabriel here. And then right here, we have the Archangel Lucifer here. So it's really important to know what's going on, because really these could be like names of people that may come into your life for whatever reason. So somebody named Raphael can come into your life, right? Somebody named Michael or Michaela or some kind of variant of that can come into your life, and or some kind of variant can come into your life. And I just want to point out, I don't have this as one of the topics to talk about, but I'm being reminded of it. If you look at this card, we actually see somebody, we don't see somebody, we see the flag here, right? It's white with the red cross. That's the flag for England. It's known as St. George's Cross, right? So see, named Michael from England. That's going to come into your life, or Michaela or Micah or whatever. They can come into your life and they could just be from England, Right here, somebody could be named Gabriel, Gabby, Gabriella, Gabe, and stuff like that. So it's really important to kind of look at tarot in that way to really pinpoint what's going on. Or listen, this could be your calling to go to England, to go visit, to go live there, to go study there, study abroad. You never know. So that's also another way to kind of look at tarot, to determine any kind of locations, really by taking the color and the symbols that you see. Like in, I'm trying to find, oh, yes. Like in the Knight of Wands, right? Or even the Page of Wands. These are pyramids. So maybe you should go to Egypt to go study, to go, travel, to go see the pyramids and do whatever. So that could be your sign. And And that's just like another way to look at tarot and see what you should do. So speaking of the archangels, I actually want to go into some of the Greco-Roman gods that you could also see in tarot, because again, they are kind of intertwined with another. Um, I'll just go through like a few of them. Obviously, as I said before early in this video, that Apollo is here in the chariot, right? In strength, this is Diana. So then we also have like a Cancer energy going on here. Trying to think. In the Eight of Pentacles, if I can, I have all my cards mixed up together. And the Three of Cups, right? We can see the Graces being portrayed here. The Star, right? The Star. The Star is Athena. Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles portrays Hephaestus. I'm going to pronounce this name wrong. The Eight of Pentacles portrays Hephaestus. I believe that's how you pronounce it. In this card. So that's another tip to kind of look at when reading. So like if you pull this card, right, you may want to read up on Hephaestus and like what that means and why it's being portrayed. And there are several cards in this in tarot where, you know, the Greco-Roman gods show up at, which could be beneficial for you to know. And I think the last thing that I kind of want to touch on for now, I know this video is kind of long, but will have to be pip decks, because it kind of ties in to what I've already said. And I feel like pip decks are like a lot of fun. And I wish people would use them more. And yeah, I'm gonna just try to find a pip deck. I'm gonna find one that I haven't shown on this channel. My Italia deck that I just got. This is mass market, so it is accessible if you want it. Okay, it's not in order. Pip decks are a little bit different. They're kind of not for beginners, or at least I don't recommend beginners to use them at all until you're really comfortable with reading tarot. Because for pip decks, you can't really, you have to know yourself. You can't really, oh, my candle just went out. You can't really take any shortcuts because you don't have much to work with, right? Because the minors are not illustrated. I know with some pip decks, the minors are kind of illustrated, so it kind of gives you like a hint. But in most pip decks, that's not really happening. So that's why when it comes to pip decks, other things will matter more. So in pip decks, the numbers are really important. They're important in regular tarot, right? Like in the RWS and other decks like this, right? But they're just more important in pip decks because you don't have much to really go off of. The suits are also more important. So sometimes in regular tarot, right, the Eight can talk about work, right? Pentacles or whatever. You can really say anything about this card. This could be about your work and finances. This could be you need to work on your relationship. You need to work on your self-love, on yourself. You need to work on your mental state, right? You can kind of go your own way if you're using like a deck like this. But when it comes to pip decks, you cannot do that. Because again, you don't have much to work off on. So you really get the main So you really get like the basic meanings of what the cards mean. So if you get like, okay, the wands or batons in this deck, this is strictly about passion. This is strictly about passion. This isn't about, you know, your intellectual, which is like the realm of the swords, right? The sword suit. This is all about passion. Trying to find another. Okay, swords. Okay, this isn't about your foundations as a person. This is about your mind and your spirituality. There's not much room that you can work with, and you can't venture too far when you're working with the pip deck like that. Let's see. Major Arcana in a pip deck is more strong than a minor arcana because the minor arcana isn't illustrated. So you don't have anything to work off on, right? So this, whatever this says, if I pull this card, so if I have the Ace of Batons here and then I have the Devil, this is going to trump this no matter what. Okay, this is going to take place before, like this is more prominent here in a reading. And again, with pip decks, the colors don't matter because you're going to see the same colorway throughout the whole deck anyway. So this deck is really about, so this deck really has a lot of red, green, a little bit of blue, yellow, all throughout. And it doesn't mean anything. This is just really a stylistic choice that the creator had. So yeah, that I'll say about pip decks is that they read differently than a deck that's illustrated throughout. Because the lack of portraits, right? It talks to you a little bit differently because they're less flexible with their meanings. So if I take the Ten of Swords here, right? This means obviously what we said, destruction, the ending, something negative, but also something positive because we have the yellow here and we have the blue here. So tomorrow is promised something good will happen from this ending right here, even though it is painful. But if you go to this pip deck, nothing is happening, right? But if you go to this pip deck, it's a little bit different, right? Because there's nothing for you to work with. You can't use the colors. You only have 10 swords. So this only means ending. Right? It is a painful ending. It is an ending that, in this deck, it doesn't promise you that things will get better. Because it doesn't portray or uses the color like this card does. So it's a little bit different. You have to think about all the other cards that are next to this card in a reading if you're using a pip deck. Because pip decks just talk to you differently. So that's all that I have for you guys for right now. I feel like I rambled on for quite a bit, which is honestly quite normal for my videos so far to kind of be on the longer side. I was kind of nervous to make this video because I do feel like a lot of people in the community that I have, come across so far kind of believe that you can't predict the future with tarot. But I feel like if you, take some of the lessons, take some of the tips that I've shared and kind of incorporate them into your reading in a predictive sense, it can help out. It can come true and help you strengthen your tarot readings and predicting. The only thing that I didn't touch on that I'm realizing now is about timing, which I can do really, 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 really quick. So wands are days. So if I pull this card, this is going to be 9 days. Swords are weeks, so this is going to be 10 weeks, right? Pentacles are years. Oh, Pentacles are years. So this is going to be 7 years, or also can translate to seasons. So in the next 7 seasons. And then cups are months. So, oops, I'm not trying to move my camera. Cups are months. So 2 months, right? And that's another thing. And then the major arcana, kind of the same way. This could be like Scorpio season, right? This can be Libra season. But the timing with the major arcana is a little bit different depending on what you do. But it is all very possible if you just take the time to really experiment and to do it. You'll get there eventually. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Again, I was a little bit nervous making this video, but it was honestly like a lot of fun, because I hope this can help somebody, you know, whoever watches this. And yeah, if you have any video suggestions that I could do that you would like to see me do, feel free to comment. I'm open to almost anything. I'm thinking I kind of want to do a pick a card reading. I feel like that would be fun. Actually, I really may do that, so then you guys could kind of see how these tips and tricks play in a reading. So it could be like a little pick a card thing that you can, you know, get a meaningful reading from, and a little lesson. Because sometimes when I watch pick a card videos, I'm really like just trying to see how people read and study. So yeah, that may be fun. That may be my next video if I don't come up with anything else. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.